everyone, I'm going to be reading lesson 2, reading 1, landforms on Earth for you guys. Feel free to follow along and then stop and pause wherever there are highlighted questions. Getting ready. A group of friends were watching an old Western movie on TV. In it, the bad guys are chasing the sheriff. "Be careful," Isaiah shouts at the sheriff. "Do not fall off the cliff." "What?" Joe says. "He's going to fall off the plateau." Jane yells, "He will fall into the canyon." "No, he is going into the valley," says Ahmad. Here's the picture that they're talking about. Isaiah shouts about the cliff, Joe shouts about the plateau, Jane shouts about the canyon, and Ahmad shouts about the valley. Which landform is in the sketch, and who is shouting the right thing? So write your guess here. Sit still and look around you. Do you see any trees or buildings? Think about the shape of the earth below the sidewalks, parking lot, trees, and buildings. Is the land flat, hilly? Whatever it looks like, it is some kind of landform. Geologists, scientists who study the history and structure of the earth, think about these things all of the time. Why do they care about these landforms? Like other scientists, geologists are curious. They want to know how the planet was built up and how it functions. They investigate not only the surface of the land, but also the structures below the surface. By studying Earth's history, they learn about how events and processes of the past affected the present and how what is going on now might affect the future. The work of geologists has helped find valuable raw materials such as oil, gas, water, ores, and minerals that people use in their daily lives. Predicting natural disasters like volcanic eruptions and earthquakes happens because of the understanding of the Earth that geologists have developed. In past science classes, you may have studied chemistry, physical science, and/or life science. Geologists apply methods from all of these scientists to do their work. In one way, the work of geologists is very different from the work of other scientists. In physical science, you might have seen the effect of light on objects right away. In chemistry, you might have seen how pushing a handle of a syringe compressed the air inside. Biologists may study a population for many years because they can solve a problem or reach a conclusion. But for geologists, the idea of many years is much different. When you look at the landform from which the sheriff is about to fall, you are looking at something that may have taken thousands or even millions of years to form. A geologist has to investigate the effect of the Earth's processes as they appear now in order to understand what caused the Earth to look the way it does. This also helps them figure out how the Earth could change in the future. In this unit, you will be working as a geologist works. One of your tasks is to look at structures called landforms. A landform is a natural feature on Earth's surface. In class, you looked at photographs of a national park and tried to identify the landforms in it. Think about the sheriff and the bad guys. What was the landform that the sheriff was about to fall from? Okay, is it a cliff or a canyon? It can be confusing to try to identify landforms because they can be so similar. A canyon could be thought of as two cliffs that are near each other. A cliff is a high, steep slope of rock. If you had to write out an equation for a canyon, you might write the following. One cliff plus another cliff equals a canyon. So here's a cliff, here's another cliff. This space in between them is called a canyon. While each cliff is a landform, two cliffs together can also be thought of as making up another landform called a canyon. A canyon is a narrow valley with steep sides. If you focus on the steep sides of the canyon, you might notice only the cliffs, but if you focus on the part between the cliffs, you would notice the canyon. These are both correct ways to describe and name the landforms. Is it a plateau or a canyon? Picture a mountain. Now imagine that the top, pointy part is sliced off. What you have left is a plateau. A plateau is a raised, flat surface with steep sides. Can you see how someone who is standing on a plateau could also be seen as standing on the edge of a cliff. Okay, so maybe they're standing here and it looks like a cliff, or over here it looks like a cliff. So describe how cliffs and plateaus are related. It could be how they're similar, how they're different, how they interact with one another, what you need to have in order to have one, etc. Okay, so pause the video and answer that question. What are valleys? A valley is a landform that is a large area of low land that is found between hills or mountains. Often a valley will have a river running through it. Okay, here we go. Look at the picture of a valley and a canyon. Describe how they are similar. So the first one is a valley, the second one is a canyon. If you noticed many similarities between the valley and the canyon, you are thinking like a geologist. A canyon is a type of valley, just like a volcano is a type of mountain. In this unit, you will be looking at pictures from a national park. You will identify landforms and how they were created. Remember, you may see more than one landform in a picture. Think back to the story about the sheriff at the beginning of this reading. Everyone described the landforms differently. Everyone was correct. The sheriff was about to run off the plateau into the canyon, but the walls of the canyon are cliffs. The land between the cliffs is a canyon, which is a type of valley. So the sheriff was running off into a valley as well. When you identify multiple landforms just like that in your national park, you may choose to focus on the canyon, the valley, the cliffs, or the plateau. Just like the story at the beginning of the reading, where everyone was correct, you would be correct in choosing any of the landforms you see. Last question, who was correct from the story at the beginning of this reading, just to make sure you guys were really listening to that last paragraph. If you have any questions, let me know. Bye.